You know, one thing that's really awesome about playing guitar is that there's just so much out there to explore, play with, and find your tone. And of course, one of the main components for that is going to be an amp, and today we're going to be taking a look at this little tiny thing. It's not even as, well, it's smaller than a bread box. This is the Friedman BE Mini 30-watt amp head. Welcome back, I'm Tony, and it's been this way since I was a little kid. I mean, I'm always like, you know, I'd go through the guitar magazines and be like, oh my God, I gotta have that. Oh, well, that's gonna make everything perfect. Well, buying new amps and effects doesn't necessarily make everything perfect, but it sure is a lot of fun in the meantime. And there's so much out there that it'll make your head swim, right? My nephew was recommending, when I bought the Angle Fireball 25, he was recommending this Friedman, I think it's the JJ Little Sister or something like that. Yeah, it's the Friedman Little Sister 20-watt, one-channel tube head. And the way my nephew described it, which I really respect him because he's very good at what he does, was if you really like Alice in Chains, that is a great amp to give you that type of tone. It also costs more than the Angle Fireball 2500, and I knew I wanted that angle, so that's what I got. So when I saw that they had this BE Mini 30-watt head, I was like, that's kind of interesting, started looking at it. Now, like most of my gear, I bought it at Sweetwater, and they're not sponsoring this video. I don't get paid for this at all. This is just me showing you stuff that I really like, but I saw this amp and was like, oh, that's really cool. So checked out their website, bought it for $249. Dude, it's on sale right now for only $212.49. Might have waited, I would have saved about 30, 40 bucks, but it's all right. It's a really nice amp, and for the price, dude, 30 watts, that's even more than the Angle Fireball 25. It is a solid state head, it's not tube, and it doesn't have any versatility, like it doesn't have a clean channel on it. This thing is all about grungy, dirty, metal-y sounds, and I love it. Well, I love those tones. The amp, I actually really like it quite a bit. I don't know if I want to say I love it, but it's a lot of fun. As they describe on Sweetwater, it's a hot-rodded British amp tone in an ultra-compact package, and I would totally agree with that. It has a transparent effects loop for your time-based pedals. Well, it's got a lot of features, so let's just go ahead and show you what we're talking about. And today I'm going to be playing using my Kiesel Custom. This is a Type X headless guitar. Man, I tell you what, this guitar is a lot of fun. I really, really enjoy it, and it's actually quite beautiful. So let's go ahead and check it out. There we go. So as you can see, this thing sits right on top of this Marshall 412 cabinet. It's a JCM 800 lead 1960, right next to the Angle Fireball 25. I can just leave both of these things sitting up here at the same time, which is kind of nice. The settings that you see here are the settings that I've been using. This is what I've dialed in, and I really like it. So volume, I mean, this is a small room. I live in a condo. That is all I've got on for the volume, and it's quite loud as it is. I've got my cut in the middle position and my tight at the top position. Gain is right around 12 o'clock. That's where I like it. And that's your presence, your treble, your mid, your bass, and your volume. Now I've got the Shure SM57 hooked up right now. Volume knob all the way down on the guitar, and you hear there's very little noise out of the speaker. But if I turn the gain all the way up, you do have a little bit of noise out of this amp. Now, keeping in mind that the volume is that low, let's turn this up. And there's no effects or anything else plugged in, just straight into the, right into the amp. So for a tiny little amp like this through a 412 cabinet, that sounds really, really good. So let's just do a little. And we get the bass all the way up there. And of course, that's going to be all personal preference. Got my bass right there, my mid, and my treble. Presence, the presence on this thing. It does make a difference. Let's turn the presence all the way down now. The presence brings out the sizzle in this, is what it really does. my presence to be right up there around 1 o'clock. And my gain, now look, the gain is actually, boy, let's just do this. Yeah, so I mean, you get some really nice sounds out of this. The gain, you're going to get more feedback out of it, obviously, and it does introduce a little bit more noise. So let's see, when we've got, and so the cut is all the way at the top. All right, so let's take that cut down all the way to the bottom. Cut in the middle, which is about where I like it. I mean, I guess that means it's off, right? So all the way up. In the middle. And then at the bottom. Definitely that cut does make a difference. I guess it's just all going to be personal preference. And then on your tight over here, I keep that all the way at the top. Here's it all the way at the bottom. It's a 3-position switch again. All right, and then bring this up a little bit. So it just basically fattens it up a little bit, and then up at the top. So yeah, this is a sweet little amp. I mean, I first got it because it was kind of a novelty. It looked cute. Also because I really wanted to get a Friedman amp. My nephew, who's an incredible musician and producer, he told me, dude, you got to get a Friedman. That was back when I was looking at heads, and the Engel Fireball 25 he also said was really good, but he just really liked the Friedman sound, and I do too. It's not a full Friedman tube amp or anything like that, but for what it is, I think it does a really good job. Take the presence down just a little bit. Now, one thing this is not is a clean channel amp. It doesn't have a clean channel at all. So the gain is right around 12 o'clock. That's all the way down, right? So, I mean, you know. It still has a really good, actually cleanish, distorted sound to it. I like that. It'd be good for, like, you know, I don't know, AC/DC. Or, you know, something like maybe... It also does not have any kind of noise gate like the Fireball 25 does, which is one thing I really like about that. Take the presence down too a little bit, and with the gain and the presence down. Sounds quite good even when it's not all gained out. Oh, and I suppose you want to see the back of it too, so let's go ahead and unplug that. Unplug the cabinet, turn it around, and there we go. So obviously you're going to plug in right there, and it's just a basic power block that this uses. And then you've got your FX loop right here, which is great, a little tiny amp like this with an FX loop. And you've got your two speaker outputs right there, so you can plug in two cabinets. Now this is a 30-watt amp, so Yeah, you've got plenty of power. I mean, the Engel Fireball that I've got here is a 25 watt amp, so that's pretty nice. Now, I don't know, I mean, you could use this thing for gigging. It's 30 watts, and I can tell you that that was only a quarter of the volume, and it was really loud in here. Of course, I do have a 412 cab that it's plugged into, but you could probably use this thing for gigging. It would be a good little backup, like, because, you know, you never know if your amp is going to crap out on you when you go to do a gig. And this thing is so cute and small that you could actually shove that in like a gig bag or one of your equipment boxes or something like that, and it'd be ready to go if you ever needed it. The fact that it has a transparent effects loop is actually really beneficial if you do have to use this thing live, or if you just choose to use it live. You know, it's solid state. It's not tube, so it doesn't have exactly the warmth of tube, but it sounds really good. And when you use that presence on there, it really adds a lot of sizzle. So whatever your use case is, as long as you don't need a clean channel on it, well, this is it's a pretty cool little choice. And for $250 or even right now $212, I mean, come on. Now, I wasn't actually aware of all these mini amps. Apparently there's a Kiesel one, there's Soldano, there's a lot of different ones. So I don't know, maybe I'll check out some of the other mini amps as well. Like I said, I bought it from Sweetwater. Steve Gray over there does a great job as my rep. I know everybody has their own rep, but shout out to Steve. And personally, I find that their prices are right. And not only that, when I bought my Engel Fireball 25, the first one crapped out after the first or second day. And I just contacted them and they said, oh, no problem. We're going to just replace it. So they sent me one, had me sent that one back. They sent it before I even sent the old one back. So that's good customer service. Again, this is not a paid endorsement by Sweetwater. It's just what I use. Now I'm learning more about Friedman, and they've got this BE pedal that's a BE IR something or another. That looks really cool, and it even has tubes inside. It's not really a pedal, it's about that big, but you know what I mean. That looks really cool, and that's actually what made me look at the website. And I said, oh, I don't know, 400, 500 bucks, but this is only $250, so yeah, let's do that. It's sort of like an addiction, you know. You're like, okay, that one's really cool. What's next? I want to play with more stuff. So my wife doesn't love that, but hey, she does love me making music, though. Yeah, so there we go. So that's the Friedman BE Mini 30 watt amp head, and I just want to thank you so much for your support here on the channel. In the last couple of years, I mean, we've been around since 2013, but in the last couple of years, I've expanded and showed you more of my passions. I mean, these are just things that I'm passionate for. It's kind of the life of Tony, you know what I mean? You know, electric skateboards, electric bikes, scooters, electric guitars, solar power, solar generators. If it's tech, I'm probably going to be into it. But the guitar stuff is one of my longest loves. I've been doing this since I was 11, 12 years old, and I'm stoked to be able to share that with you here on the channel. If you haven't checked out the other content, give it a shot. Just might find something you like. Speaking of like, if you like what you see, hit the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, there's a red subscribe button down there and notification bell. Click both of those, you'll get a notification when I upload new videos. There's also a thanks button at the bottom of this video in case you'd like to throw a couple bucks my way to support the channel. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. We'll catch you next time on the Vapor Trail channel.